Yeah. So, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us once again. And we have the discussion today with the panel of students and graduates from the IIM Calcutta one-year MBA program, that is the MBA X program. So, the agenda here is today to discuss about what is the process like, what is the program, what are the value additions that you get, and a lot of people are joining the one-year MBA programs for the career transitions. So these are people who have planned those career transitions. They are coming from that background, and we have a huge diversity today on our panel. So we have Mr. Sumit, who's an IIM Calcutta graduate, and we also have Mr. Sayan Mukherjee, Mr. Govardhan, so these and Mr. Ronak. So they are going to just join the campus very shortly. And thank you for taking out the time to interact with us. Right. So let me just hand it over to Sumit because I think he'll be traveling very soon. So Sumit, are we audible? Can we have you on screen?
Hi, ma'am. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good, ma'am. I'm good. So,
Excellent.
hi, team. How is everyone? Ah, okay.
Thanks. We're good.
Yeah. So, apologies. Actually, I'm at the airport right now. तो थोड़ा सा पीछे noise आएगा. I'm really sorry for that. Uh, but apart from that, my career journey till date and okay. So basically, I had around 8 years of work experience prior to the IIM Calcutta MBX program and. Post MBA, now as of now, I'm working with Flipkart in operations. So I'm the cluster manager here, and I'm handling fulfillment center and mother hubs, which are the sortation centers for Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh cluster. So that is in brief my overall profile as of now. Working with Flipkart is an amazing journey. Uh, it's a very steep learning curve here, and it's amazing. And why did I choose 1 year MBA and especially the one in India is because two reasons. One is I wanted to follow some entrepreneurial journey post MBA with some work experience down the line in India itself. And e-commerce seemed like a right choice, and Flipkart seemed like a right choice again. So that's why I chose India. So, with sufficient experience, probably I'll venture into something of my own, and let's see how that pans out. Apart from that, IIM Calcutta ka journey was phenomenal. I think one thing that sets apart IIM Calcutta from any other institute pan India wise is you have a lot of freedom there, and you have a lot of freedom to explore other opportunities. You have a lot of freedom to network, build good bonds with your batchmates, with other people on the campus. And see, ultimately, MBA is more or less about two things, right? One is your knowledge, and one is your network. And IIM Calcutta will provide you enough time, space, opportunity to dwell on those opportunities and then build a solid network when you pass out. So I think that's why my 1 year entire journey, as I recall now, it was like a flash of a second. कहाँ चला गया पता नहीं चला. But the professors are amazing. The cohort was brilliant, and you'll fall in any of you, and the ones who are as of now will be joining the campus soon. The second or the moment you step inside the campus, you'll fall in love with the campus, and I think it has a very positive effect on you during your entire journey at the campus.
Thank you,
So
Sumit.
yeah,
Yeah, I was there. I was on the campus a few months back, and I could really relate to what you mentioned about the campus and the environment that it gives. And what about the experience on the front of the curriculum, or different the way the curriculum is designed or the program is designed? What does that give you as a takeaway?
okay. So curriculum wise, I would say I am Calcutta. 60 to 70% is more or less very similar to what A and B or ISB is doing as of now. And again, it's very similar to what a 2 year MBA program does. Apart from that, the flexibility for your electives are higher in your 1 year MBA program. with special focus on data engineering, data analytics, ML, specific models for marketing and finance. As you all know, IIM Calcutta is famous for its finance electives. It's a finance focused MBA program, and therefore your curriculum and the professors and the electives and the opportunity specifically in that direction is humongous. So they have modified their curriculum in line with the market requirements. And I believe one of the positive things about that is that a lot of people come to these programs from non-tech background. And once you move into the industry, more or less the applications of uh, I would say again AIML models and other data analytic models are have become very necessary. And this is especially when IMC is excelling is they have really blended uh, uh, the tech curriculum with their existing industry knowledge and experience perfectly well, so that you can easily relate to it how you could have solved those problems in your previous experience or past industry with the new knowledge that you have gained in particular electives or subjects that you have. So I think it's a perfect mix and blend of old concepts that are essential, but also the new technologies and again new concepts that are needed to survive in any industry as of now.
Right. Amazingly helpful insights. And one last question. Actually, you had a very you had a very drastic career transition post this MBA program, and a lot of people have the they are apprehensive of whether they'll be able to get their desired outcome after the program. So, what are the things that they need to go in with, and what are the things that they need to keep in mind during that particular 1 year to be able to achieve their career transitions?
Okay. Firstly, I think uh, keep a mindset that anything is possible, really. So I, along with a lot of other of my batchmates, have I think 180 degree transformation or transition is less, but anything is possible. Just keep an open mind. Once you enter the campus, take 3 months or so to you know get used to the place, get used to the rigor. Uh, Post that, figure out what you really want to do and where you want to go, and accordingly start taking those electives, interacting with the professors. Industry में जो especially the people you you will get a lot of opportunities to interact with a lot of industry experts, uh, network with them, network with your batchmates, and then probably uh, direct your career or rest of the 9 months at the campus in that direction. And once you are out of the campus, I think you would have fulfilled the desire or the requirement why you came to that IMC would have been fulfilled. So I would again say, don't hesitate. uh, any career transition into any stream or industry is actually possible. Uh, be it tech, be it consulting, be it operations, or be it marketing. Anything is possible. Even for corporate roles, general management roles, everything is possible. So just enter with a open mindset, and but make sure that once you get into the campus, within 3 months you should know what you want to do, and that they just get into it. That's it.
Right. Thank you so much. So we have a viewer here. She's Spruha. So she is asking about what is the admissions process after GMAT. So Spruha, the admissions process after GMAT requires you to fill an online application where you will have to submit one SOP that is around 500 words in length. And along with that, you need two letters of recommendation. So again, the whole online form plus the SOP plus two letters of recommendation is what you submit to the school within the deadline. And post that, once you're shortlisted, you go in for the interview. So for the interview process at IIM Calcutta for the MBX program, you right now do not have any VAT requirements. You just need to go in for the interview with the admissions panel, and that would be led by a panel of the alumni as well as the professors, or only the professors as well. So it depends on who's available at that particular day. I hope that addresses your question. And people who are with us today, feel free to ask your questions. We'll be taking them up as and when we get a window. Right. So we have Mr. Govardhan with us, and he has, around 9+ years of experience in the IT sector. So Govardhan, please share your story with us. How did you choose and why did you choose the 1 year MBA program, and what was your experience of the application and the interview process at the IIM Calcutta 1 year MBA, that is the MBX program? So let's wait till he can join. And in the meanwhile, I think Sain, you could take this up. So 9+ years in the power sector is where you are coming from, and what are the choices that you made, and how did you go about the application and the interview process, please?
Yeah, so I would go start with the second question. So with the audience out here, probably. So my experience has been so it was I was coming with a 9 years of experience, and my entire experience from the very beginning has been into sales, business development, and bid management kind of a role. So while I have been quite successful in this sector, so what I felt was going forward, I needed to have a more holistic understanding of the business if I wanted to move to a more senior leadership position. And to do so, what I felt that the best way probably will be go through a structured process, which probably an MBA program can give you. And in a very short span of time, with the kind of a business cases that you solve, with the kind of network that you develop, and kind of the subjects that you all get to study out there in the campus. So that's how it began with. And the way to do it was I wrote the GMAT. This year, around no last year around in the month of July, and then started my application process. As far as the application process goes, so the ma'am has already elaborated on the process itself and how is it. When I was giving the GMAT, I had thought that I would probably get done with the GMAT, and that would probably the end of the road. And then in the application process, I can just fill it up and probably apply to the B schools. I didn't have much of an idea. So my decision was all of a sudden. So I thought that let me cover the first step, and then if things come well, then I would think about the second step. So that's how it was. So when I looked into the SOP and everything, what I felt, at the very beginning it felt to be overwhelming, because you do where there's a one SOP and two letter of recommendation, you need to bring about your story to the admission committee, and with the word limits and everything, I thought, I was unable to probably understand which stories, because it's a 20-year life story, some professional, some personal journeys, some learnings. So how do I structure it, how do I probably frame it, and within the word limits and everything. So in that way, I thought the best would be to get a professional help who have an idea and have gone through the process. So that's how I reached out to GOALisB, and what Pam helped me is structuring my thoughts. It also helped me to revisit my entire journey in the professional and personal life, and to take forward what has been my learnings, what stories should probably I should take forward to and replicate and show it to them admission committee, so that the application looks to be one that can be selected forward, and that's how it was.
Excellent. And what about the interview process at IMCAL? So how was it, and what was the panel like? What were they looking for when they were interviewing you?
Yeah, as far my panel goes, that was consisted of three members. So there were two professors and an alumni. So, they would go through what they expect is whatever you have written across the SOP. What are your goals? What has been your life journey? So they would be asking sort of a questions on that. And on that front, also, I would say, while the SOP you write is of 500 words, so what the application process, when I went through, we gone through an extensive range of questions. So probably all of that didn't came in fit into a 500 word, but what it helped me was, while I was going through it, to sort of understand how the journey has been through, to revisit what a journey has been through in terms of learnings, in terms of tangible skill sets that probably I have developed, which I can probably take it forward to when I go into an MBA program. And also, what are the expectation I have? So everybody comes in want to do an MBA, but probably expectations are not very clear. And to be very honest, nor was mine. While the entire process helped me to figure out on those fronts, and that is what they would expect from the candidate only. So while we want to go with, they want us to go with an open mind, but at least we should also have an idea what were we kind of an expecting from the program, what are the skill sets we bring into the class in terms of value addition, and those things were explored. Apart from that, what they do ask is that they expect us to have some industrial knowledge. So and our viewpoint on certain policies or regulations that has come forward too, and that was asked to me, and they asked my viewpoints, what are the alternate viewpoints, and those things were discussed. So that's how it was. And I'm Calcutta. Adu As usually comes up with certain mathematical questions. So they would expect you to revisit what you have done till probably class 12 or 10, and they would ask certain questions on those front. So around 10-15 minutes on those as well. So that's how the interview was. But it was a candid one. So it was on a very lighter note. That's how it was.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I think we have Govardhan back. He's connected now. So please, Govardhan, go ahead and share your story. You have a huge amount of experience in the IT sector. So what brought you to the one-year MBA program, and how was your experience on the application and the interview process? I think he's still having issues with the audio. So, Mr. Ronik, I think you have. Are we connected?
Hi, ma'am.
Yeah. So, hi, Ronak. And please share your story. You have around 6+ years in the PSU sector and planning to take up a one-year MBA. So, what brought you to the one-year MBA? And then, how was your experience of the application and the interview process, especially with the IIM Calcutta MBAX admissions process? We can't hear you, Ronak, in case you are communicating. Okay, we'll wait for them to join once more. And in the meantime, we'll just evaluate all the other options that one has once you are applying to a one-year MBA for executives in India. So within India, you will have the option of joining the IIM PGPX. You can apply to the IIM Bangalore EPGP program, IIM Calcutta MBAX program, of course the ISB PGP program, and IIM Indore EPGP, as well as IIM Lucknow IPMX program. So these programs, they rank on the FT ranking for 2023. They are all there, and they are doing well. The alumni are able to achieve their goals. And in case you just look at the requirements, the IM programs versus the ISB program, I think the main difference is the average work experience of the class and the class size. So given in what conditions or in what kind of an environment you like to you feel you would be most comfortable in learning, that is probably a choice that you need to make within choosing amongst these programs. Otherwise, the value addition that these programs have is good for career transitions as well as career growth both. So, Govardhan and Ronak, we are waiting for you. Please tell us whenever you have joined.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Right.
Okay,
Yes,
Govardhan, you can go.
Yes, Govardhan, you can go first,
Thank
please.
you, Ronak.
Yeah.
So I have 9 years of IT experience, and I have been a software developer, and I have worked with multiple clients. For a utility client, I worked for audit application. So during my interactions with the clients, there was a lot of business knowledge which I had to accumulate for designing their applications. So this made me interesting. This made me interested in the business end of the products. So that's when I realized that after 9 years, I have sort of hit a glass ceiling from tech point of view. So from there on, I wanted to pursue a path from the like outside of tech, like more of the business end. So that's why I thought one-year MBA would be the right fit for me. So the first step was the preparing for the GMAT and crossing it. So once GMAT was done, then I realized the next step as Shayan has just mentioned, right? So that's when I realized there is a lot more to that post that one step of GMAT. There is the process of the statement of purpose, which we need to write, recommendation letters, and all this. So that process was also a little bit of challenging on how to showcase my skills on what I have done, the challenges I have faced, and all. So I took Shruti madam's help for all that and showcasing what my deals were. How can I show myself? How can I show what my skill sets are, right?
Yeah.
And then the interview came in. I had two panels, two professors in the panel. And one of the professor was asking mostly on the tech only. So if in my case, he was asking about the how cloud, how Microsoft was profiting on the cloud. What's their secret behind it? I think some such matters. And the other panelist as I was also asking on questions like basic maths, just like Sayan as well. So that was my overall. For me, the interview experience was little. Uh, I would say, no, I was little tense at that particular interview session, but overall it was good.
Right. And you had a very interesting questions that were asked to you, right? In case you do remember those regarding the probability and this.
Yeah, so it was a particularly tricky puzzle question with probability. So I remember I give half of the answer because I didn't remember the math at that moment. So I gave half the answer that I wasn't even sure like how would the result be until I got that R1 results. I was a little bit tense about what was the outcome would be for that. The other question on the tech, so it was the question like how Microsoft was making so much profits in cloud, because I was in the same field. I knew how I used to follow Microsoft, how the cloud platform Azure was working and how they were profiting from it. So I was able to answer that. So what was how they were open source, how they were the cloud platform was for giving out license to the open source to establish their products on the cloud platform. And when I gave these answers, so I was able to go through one panelist. The other panelist, yeah, the questions with Max, that was the one which caught me off guard.
Right. So we have Anjana here, and she is asking if the curriculum is helpful to someone who wants to move from a clinical role to healthcare consulting. So in case Sumit, we are still connected, you could pitch in on this. And
Yeah, hi. So, definitely, I would say that because you already have the typical answer is you already have the technical expertise, you'll gain the business knowledge during the MBA program, and hence you can make the transition. But I'll give you a live example. We had one of the doctors with us in our cohort, and post MBA he got into Boston Consulting Southeast Asia team, and I think right now he's in Indonesia and he's doing great. So he's actually into healthcare consulting and working with one of the top three consulting firms in the world. So yeah, it's definitely possible.
excellent. So, Anjana, I think this answers your question. The curriculum is definitely helpful and the experience as well. So, you have a live example as well. So, feel free to ask any further questions. Struha here asks if the LOR should be from ex-colleagues or managers. So, over here, it is a call for you to take. You need to decide as to where whose LOR will add the maximum value addition to your application. If you feel that, your manager you can get it from your manager and they have a good visibility of your work, then I think one of your recommenders should definitely be your manager. Ex-colleagues could also refer just in case they have the information and the visibility of your work to really add that input to your application. So see what helps you make a strong application, and that is, I think, the answer that you will have for this question. Feel free to ask any further questions, please. So we have one more panelist, Mr. Ronak, and he has around 6+ years of PSU experience. So Ronak, if you are connected, so we would like to hear your story as to why you chose the one-year program and what was your experience of the application and the interview process at IIM Calcutta, the one-year MBA MBX program. Let us know when you have pitched in, so we'll come back to this then. So the admissions process, again, there are 3 cycles. You will have 3 windows which will open up. Usually starts towards the end of June, and these 3 cycles will be independent of each other. So once you are applying in one cycle, you cannot apply to another cycle in the same application year. and IMC MBA X program only accepts the GMAT scores. So then you have to submit an essay that, like we said, 500 words and 2 letters of references. And Spruha says, what if we don't have anyone to write an LOR? I'm presently not working as I was laid off. Would that hurt my application? So probably not. I don't think that is something that you need to worry about. You can always go back to your previous organization and your previous managers, and discuss this out with them that you are applying to this program, and I'm sure you've done great work, and they'll be happy to give you the letter of recommendation. Just in case it is an anomaly of any sorts, then you can always connect with the admissions team to see what would be the ideal case that will help you to justify your application. But most of the times, not being on the same job, it is fine. You can take it from any previous organization as well. I hope that answers the question. So, guys, you have all been working professionals. So, GMAT preparation as working professionals is not an easy task to handle. So, what are your tips and strategies, things that worked for you for preparing for the GMAT, as well as what is a good timeline for professionals to, start working on their GMAT as well as get done with that and then start with the applications as well. So, in case Sumit, you would like to take it up first.
Mm, I think the only answer to that is if you really want to get into a good college, you'll have to create some bandwidth and work on it. Because, see, ultimately, your job definitely has a lot of higher requirements related to your time and again, bandwidth. But again, if you really want to get done with the MBA and get this one of the kind of a lifetime experience, you'll have to burn midnight oil. You'll have to wake up till morning. You'll have to take some leaves. And Shruti ma'am will help you throughout the way. She is a phenomenal partner in this entire journey. And I think that's the only way to do it.
Right, thank you. Sayan and Govardhan, if you would like to share your GMAT preparation, the way you handled your the GMAT prep itself, what resources are helpful, what timelines, and what is a good schedule to have.
I think as far as the timelines and concerned, I think it's quite subjective. So it varies from person to person. So for me, it was around around 4.5 months or 5 months of a timeline that I took for it. So and so I think definitely, as Sumit has told, so you have to put some time off and have to work for it if you really want to crack it. And I think the best way, the thing that worked for me, and especially for working professional who has been out of the academics for quite some period, is that getting into the habit becomes a quite challenging. So I think the one best way is probably to try to at least, irrespective of how much time you are putting in, but at least devote at least some time every day. So rather than trying to hang on for around 10 hours on a weekend probably, and then not touching the books for over the next 5 days, I think that's the way probably we try to go about the things, but probably that is not the best way. And I started with it and I learned from the failure. So probably to get around 2.5 hours each day for around 4 to 5 months, I think that is expected to work out fine. So that's how I will put it, and so that's how it is. So probably others can probably pitch in and give others
Yeah,
of their experience.
Govardhan, you managed a pretty high score. So tell us the recipe of success for the GMAT preparation.
So initially, the first step would be that take the mock exam, see where we stand after getting the score, and then there is the fundamentals of in every like in maths, in grammar and everything. So you need to understand the fundamentals thoroughly, have a proper grip on it, solve simple questions first with 300 to 400, and then go move on to the next set of range of questions. So for me, it was going. I just went through that GMAT 2020 book twice, just solving everything on and all, and testing myself every weekend all the time. So as Sayan has said, it's always the consistency, solving a couple of questions every day, and maintaining the discipline for the time span you have. It's again, it's subject to each person. Differs from person to person. So that's how I did it. And actually, COVID has also helped because we were doing a lot of work from home. So that was also it was a good thing. One good thing which came out of it.
So the averages have really hiked, during COVID. The average GMAT score, we've seen it going from 600, 680 to 700, then 720, then 750. People are getting great scores, and definitely thanks to COVID. So a few things about the MBAX program that we have. There are 25 compulsory courses that you would take around, across 6 terms, and then around 15 electives that you will have across 3 terms. And in terms of international exposure, you have the international immersion, which is scheduled at the ESSEC Business School as well as the Mannheim Business School. So the current batch, we could not have a lot of them. Could not have them currently because they are off to their international immersion programs right now. And there are a lot of events, being a CEO leadership series, Lattice, the annual conclave, and the Vista series. So, Sumit, in case we are still connected, you could share your experience of being on the Lattice committee. So, how are the events like, and what is the total exposure in terms of when you are on this campus for the 1 year MBA program?
Okay. Unfortunately, I think there will be a lot of background noise. Am I audible?
Yes, we
Okay.
can hear you.
Yeah. So, there are a lot of committees. Basically, there are two types of committees. One which are hosted by 1 year MBA program, and the other ones are which are hosted by the 2 year MBA program. So, ranging from marketing to consulting to operations, and then you have your uh, tech and business conclaves, such as one is Lattice, which is hosted by the 1 year MBA program. So, uh, hosting the Lattice is challenging, especially when we were doing it just after COVID restrictions were easing down. So we had a lot of challenge in that. But apart from that, I think one of the best part of hosting such an event was that we had an opportunity to invite a lot of industry stalwarts for speaker sessions and debate sessions, and hence that helped us in connecting one to one and building a good network with top CEOs and top key and business people. And I think the Lattice committee, are still in touch with a lot of them, and they have actually provided us with a lot of guidance regarding our career and other aspects of the same. Apart from that, there's a lot of fun involved in that. We hosted, I think, a few of the stand-ups. There are great parties at IMC that everyone there will love it. So all in all, these committees, these events will actually keep you pretty occupied throughout your entire journey and give you a lot of exposure to knowledge, specifically to the kind of career transition that you are aiming for, and of course the opportunity to interact with the people who are already in that industry or profession.
Great. And since you are a graduate who's been there, done that. So what are the suggestions, from your end for the people who are entering the program now? What are the things that they can do in the next few months before they enter the program in terms of preparing for the career transitions or preparing for, strong value add from the program itself?
Uh, okay,
Any
so
courses in finance or, whatever you would suggest?
yeah, so definitely finance, I would say, because us engineers, they struggle a lot during the first term. And so although before, I think April end is, I think, when the session starts. So prior to that, IIM Calcutta will reach out to you and provide you with specific courses on specific subjects. But definitely get into some basic accounting courses, understanding the balance sheet, definitely how to read an annual report of a company. Apart from that, if you are from non-tech background, please get a good hold of uh, cloud computing in general. How does the uh, cloud migration works for the companies which are shifting from legacy computing to cloud computing, and a basic understanding of data analytics and machine learning. So I think that would be sufficient. And also, please hone your 12th standard math skills, because integration, differentiation, and such kind of concepts come in handy in term 1 and term 2, where you have a lot of subjects on data modeling, where these skill sets are needed.
Thank you. And Spruha here asks, I have 6 years of experience in working as a content strategist with B2B SaaS startups. And what is the ideal GMAT score I'll need to get into IIM or ISB? So, the ideal GMAT score, there's actually nothing like that. In terms of the whole bandwidth of GMAT score that is right now here on the campus, on this panel discussion, there's a huge range always for all the schools. Again, a lot depends on what your undergraduate scores are like. If we assume that you have slightly above average undergraduate scores, then you can just look for a target score around the average of the school. Try and stick around the school average for whatever is your target score, or go slightly higher than that. I think that much is more than sufficient for you to put up a strong application. Again, there are other aspects of the application that you need to work on, so always plan your attempts or re-attempts on the GMAT with the time that you have on hand to put up a strong application as well. So, we don't think that a 750 or a 780 is the GMAT score that gives you any guarantee of getting into any. So ideal GMAT score is whatever you can score best. Try and be around the average of the score which the school has. And if you can go slightly higher than that, nothing like it. So, Sayan, in case you feel like adding something to this question.
I think Shruti ma'am is the best to give advice. She has been handling a lot of students over the years and have had a lot of experience over what he has seen across. So I think that completely addresses what she's asking
Yeah, so
for.
go with the best that you can do, and then probably consider and go backwards as to seeing what schools are and what are within range and what are out of range. But a lot of things are considered by the school, so don't limit yourself on the GMAT alone. Right. So the next question that is the most important, or a lot of that has a lot of value add when you are deciding on a school, is what is the placements process like, and what are the placements that have been delivered at the school so far. So if we look at the MBAX program placements, it has been majorly dominated by the IT sector, and the consulting sector comes next, and then is the e-commerce sector. So if you have aims of getting into any of these sectors, then this is a good program to look at. In terms of the average salary, the average salary at IIM Calcutta has been around 36.79 lakhs. That is for the 2021-22 intake. Again, averages are across a whole range. So go with an open mind. Look at getting that lateral shift. That is the most important. Apart from that, the numbers are, of course, available at all the places. Some major companies which come to the MBAX program are Microsoft, CleanMax, Amazon, Flipkart, and BCN. So these are the companies which are hiring from the campus. Shrua has a follow-up question. She says, if I have low undergrad scores, does that reduce my chances? I will not say that does reduce your chances entirely, provided you are able to work on the rest of the things. So try and look at a higher than average GMAT for sure. And then if you have a good story to talk about, and put up a good strong application, I don't think that should be a very big limitation. Again, it all depends on how you're putting across the whole thing. Yes, but one thing for sure, if you have low undergrad scores, try and aim for a higher than average GMAT score for the school that you are targeting. Anjana has a question. How many months prior to the deadline should one start working on the essays and LOIs? I think Sayan, Sumit, and Govardhan, you are the best people to tell about your experience as to what is the ideal time. According to me, I think that at least have around 45 to 60 days in hand, so that you can think, you can, always provide for some lags as well. You can take a day off, and you are not rushing against timelines. So if you have that much time, that is good enough. But again, open to Sayan, Sumit, and Govardhan to share their insights, please.
I think my suggestion would be also something around this. So around 40 to 60 days would be sort of an ideal time. So at least 30 days. So when I completed the GMAT, so the R1 was just around the corner. I think I had around 15-20 days left. And also there was certain medical emergency from my side, so I couldn't go about it. But after that, I felt it was a right decision, even if I would have rushed and done so probably my application wouldn't have been so comprehensive the way it was. And more than that, when you are doing the application, probably you can fill up a 500 words and can submit it. But also there is, when you are filling the application, a lot of preparation goes into the interview, because you are revisiting what are the skill set, what are you looking for, and all those things. So if you give enough time, it also builds you up for the interview process as well. So keeping those in mind, probably as my experience goes, it would be around 30 to 40 days time that one should keep in hand.
Right. Sumit and Govardhan, in case you would like to add something to this.
I would agree with that. Sometime same timeline.
Great. So I think Anjana, you can keep at least a time, a timeline of around 40 days to 60 days, depending on how busy you are with your work engagements, and that should be a good time to start working on the essays and LORs. So this brings us to almost the last part of the discussion: is the IIM Executive MBA worth it? So the first point over here is that this is actually not an executive MBA; this is an MBA for executives. So when you applied to this program, what were your expectations from the program, and what are the criteria that you think are important to evaluate the program as a standalone entity to apply to, and what kind of career growth should you expect when you are applying to it? So in case you would like to go first, Sumit. In
Yeah, I think I'll just drop off in a second. About to board off. Please connect with me separately. I'll definitely help you out. Yeah,
Sure.
sorry.
Thank you for joining. So, Sayan, it's over to you. What are the criteria that you think were important for you to evaluate and understand as to what value you will get from a program that you are applying to, especially the IIM Executive MBAs?
No, I think so. As I said, my expectation was that while I do have developed my expertise over certain fields that I am working for, but what I wanted is to have a better sense of a business knowledge, and in better terms of overall how the business runs. And I think so when you are working, so while you can learn also while you are working those things, but the thing is that it usually you do not get the scope. So probably you are limited to certain things that you are doing, and you do not get the scope to think beyond it or get the positions to work on those aspects probably why you are aspiring for. So an executive program, I think, gives you a structured way to look into those aspects. So you go through number of courses where you have your the cohort which is coming from different functional and also from different industrial background. You can learn from their experiences, what they share while they are in the campus along with you. Work on thousands of business cases, and also that's I think would help me to develop an holistic understanding. And probably from a short run and a long run basis, it would a long run process, it would probably give you a platform where you can launch pad yourself to what you are aspiring for, and then take it forward.
Yes. So, Govardhan, please share your thoughts on, how did you feel that the IIM Executive MBA is worth it? What are your expectations from the program? And what are the criteria that are important to evaluate when deciding on a program?
So for me, uh, as from the day-to-day work point of view, there are challenges which we face, but these are real life challenges, and we get very little opportunities uh, when you want to solve them or face them. So I mean, there are only a certain number of challenges you can face in your particular work, and there are some challenges which you never come across in your whole career itself, and these things are more on the real life. But whereas in MBA, I believe that we get to have the case studies where we get to study what the many challenges there are already have been faced, have been solved, and how to solve them, and we get suggestions from the peers, from the professors, on how things should be handled. And the second thing is the interactions, as Sayan has said, with different people from different domains, which will never happen in the normal career, right? So for me, there were two choices ahead. Either it was go through the career, get up the corporate ladder, go to the next level, and the next level promotion. It's a long process, but rather I chose MBA because this gives me 1 year of time. It's a sort of shortcut to understand the business. Face some situations which I ideally won't face in real life in career. and actually get to interact with other people from other domains as well, right? So this, I thought this will be the, I'll get my return from this path rather than the normal going through the office and promotion after promotion.
Yes, because this really shortens the path for you to, work around in terms of getting a lateral switch, getting to the management career path. So the program is ideally designed for you to get career transitions, and the stories are, innumerable. So there's so many stories which you can always refer back to. So yeah, so Sumit has suggested that in case anybody has any questions, they could always connect with him. You could get in touch with us. We can also connect you with Sumit for any questions. So the programs, the 1-year MBA programs, they are ideally designed to help you fast track your career and shorten the the path to achieve your career growth in terms of a management career. So Spruha has one question that if I want to start my exec MBA course next year, when should I give my GMAT? So I have tried to address that, and I think for the 2024 intake, that means you would be joining the course in 24 March, April. So by then, if you want to go to the R1, so R1 deadlines would be somewhere, starting in by the end of June till the end of August. That will be the window for round one. So you should ideally be done by May or by max by June mid or end, so that you can, happily plan your application and work on the essays in time. So again, depending on when you plan to, which round you want to apply to, so try and keep it at round one or round two, and just back calculate, keeping around 45 to 60 days for your application, because you might be putting up multiple applications simultaneously. If we look at the timelines, I'm A, B, and C. They have their deadlines very close by, and ISB would be somewhere around 10-15 days here or there. So that becomes a lot of work to handle at the same time. And what's the difference between round one and round two? So round one, of course, it starts early and it ends early, and it is the first round of the year. Again, the whole application cycle is a clean slate. The school is open to looking at applications. Round two happens when the round one intake has been announced, the admits have been given. That is when you will parallelly be applying to round two. So round one ends by around August end, and round two would end by around somewhere around October end. The difference is that applying early will definitely give you an advantage, but you should always apply when your application is totally ready. So when you have the right GMAT score, you are sure that yes, this is the best that you could get, and you have dedicated ample time to your application as well. So that is the time that you should go in. Don't worry with amongst which round you should go in for round one or round two. Just look at your individual preparation. In case Sayan and Govardhan, you want to add to the choice between round one and round two, how did you choose, and what were the things that were important when you decided on the timeline of getting done with your GMAT?
So I think I do not have much to say about it. So it was not a very planned way that I choose round two only. What I've read across the various channels is that either you should try to do it by round one or round two. So that is what it is preferred, and most of the seats get fulfilled by in round one and round two. So that's how my target was. So however, so I finished my GMAT. I gave my GMAT around 20 days before the round one application ends. So it got delayed. Actually, for me, I was planning to do a bit early, but my passport got expired, and I saw it while booking the exam. So I had to reschedule my exam by another 20-25 days. But I had to get my passport done renewed. So that's how it was. And then I didn't have enough time for the round one application, and thought I would go with the round two. So that's my story goes. So and accordingly others can also plan. So preferably, I think what I have read across is that round one and round two is the more preferred slot. And I think also if you are applying to different B schools, the application fees also differs. In the round three, usually the prices shoots up. So from the economic point of view, also if you can um, put forward your application in one two, that would be preferred case.
Right, Govardhan, what are your thoughts in terms of round one versus round two, and what is a good time to get done with the GMAT?
So I would suggest the round one. It gives more time, and even somehow you miss the deadline for round one, you'll still have the round two. but not to wait until wait for the round 2 to do your admission process and all. So I would suggest, round 1 would be the ideal time to do it.
Right. So if you had to, suggest 2 or 3 tips or strategies for anybody who's just embarking on the journey, people are right now just preparing for their GMAT. So what are some, tips that you would like to share with them with respect to their thoughts on applying to the one-year MBA programs, especially in India? Sayan, if you could go first.
So in terms of the exam preparation, or in terms of what they should
The
look
whole
for?
process, what you think is important, and what they should be aware of.
So I think, so as I said, so how my expectation was, and in tune of that, if you do have an expectation, and it is probably you are trying to upskill yourself, and probably things you think yourself that you need to be better equipped to face the upcoming challenges in the professional world. I think this 1 year GMAT program probably GB school program probably prepares you for that, and that is what I'm looking for. So you have an holistic understanding of the business, you develop a good network, you get your basics right. So that has been sort of what my expectation for the program would be. And if you have a similar kind of an expectation, I think this is a right process, because it just gives you in a structured way, and it also shortens your story for, I mean, the timeline where you can get those expertise into. So that is what it is. As far as GMAT is concerned, as have been discussed, so I give around 4 to 5 months. Try to be the regularity. I would say the regularity is the key. So try to devote some time to it every day, and I think it will pay it, and you will get paid off for your effort. And then you can move it to the application process, and that's how it is. And you can back calculate as per the timelines that was discussed. I think that is the standard timeline that everyone takes, and that it is little subjective, can vary a little from person to person.
Right. And Govardhan, any tips and strategies from your end for the GMAT preparation or for the application or the interview?
So from the interview perspective, I would say that you would always have the panelists who have the domain knowledge from where you are. So you need to be brush up your skills on your domain, because the questions will be coming for the same domain which you are in. From the GMAT preparation, I would say that they rather, for me, it was like I had this Excel sheet drawn up for the scheduling to what to study on a daily basis. That would be of help and to keep progress track of the progress what you are doing on day to day. So these 2 things which I can think on top of my mind.
Right. So we have one more question. Do you suggest any other materials apart from the official guide for GMAT prep? So since you are more well versed and fresh out of the cycle, so please give your suggestions on this.
I think from the material perspective, the official guide is the Holy Bible. So I think it covers almost everything. However, as for me it was concerned, while the preparation was more from the official guide, but I was finding it difficult to probably get into an habit. So I took sort of a help from some. There are various course tutorials available. So more than the material, how it helped me was to build a habit for sitting around daily and all those things. So if you can look forward to all, there are certain reputed institutes who are assisting in terms of preparing for the GMAT, and they are, I think most of them are close to each other, so you can think of any one of it and join, and really take their help if you need.
Right. And Govardhan, what are your thoughts on the material? Any other materials that you would suggest apart from the official guide for GMAT preparation?
So for me, official guide was the one. I mean, I solved it twice. That's how I did it. And other than that, for basics, for understanding the fundamentals, I went through some online classes, just which were at my convenience. Whenever I could, I just went through them and used that for the understanding the fundamentals. So that's all I could remember in that.
Right. And one more resource that I can suggest to you, Spruha, is that we have these, inputs from past admits in terms of GMAT and GRE preparation on this URL. You can always go there and, find more resources as to suggestions from past admits to different courses. So one more question is that how important is AWA and IR scores for the GMAT score? Some sources say it is not a part of the total score, and some say it is important. So what happens, Pruha, is that every school, they have their norm of considering the AWA and IR. AWA, we do feel that it is important for almost all the schools which are taking up the GMAT for the MBA admissions. IR score depends on the, on a school to school basis. So the best source for answering this question for you is the school itself. So for example, we know for sure that ISB does not consider the IR scores. IIM ABC, they also, I don't think they do consider the IR scores. B definitely does not consider the IR score. That is what I feel. AWA is definitely important. So it is best to, get in touch with your target school and ask them this question directly. It will be very specific to the school itself. And one more preparation tip in terms of the GMAT preparation is that, people overlook the AWA preparation, and getting a higher than average AWA score will definitely boost your application at some point. It is important that you get an above average AWA score. So it is calculated out of 6. If you have a 4.5 or a 5.5, there's a whole lot of different communication that comes across from this score. So pay attention to your AWA preparation as well. Plus, this preparation will also be important for your VAT preparation when it comes to the IIM interviews. So the way you address and the way you structure your answers, that will, in the AWA, will also help you structure your answers and responses for the VAT preparation as well. Right. So this, we are almost at the end of our discussion, and I would like to thank Sayan and Govardhan for taking the time out to connect and address queries and share your inputs. And in case anybody has any further queries, feel free to reach out to them on LinkedIn, or you can always reach out to us. We can connect you to them, or we can try and address your queries. And all the best for the application cycle going forward. And Sayan and Govardhan, all the best for joining the course. Looking forward to having more conversations with you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
We'll
sir.
log off for today. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.